Good afternoon. It's September 29, 2024. We're critiquing the news. The article on your screen is from the Sunday Mail. It's titled, Don't Want Him, Don't Know Him, and it's about the two main candidates to be the next Premier of Queensland and the Queensland state election coming up next month. To quote from the article, undecided Queenslanders heading to the polls for next month's state election say they don't feel confident in voting for Premier Stephen Miles again, but they have no idea who opposition leader David Crisafulli is. And I guess that's why a mate of mine who's a radio host calls David Crisafulli Crickets Crisafulli, because you just don't hear from him when there's something important to be discussed. Now, the people pictured here were interviewed by the paper, I think by the Courier Mail, and the feeling there is that Mr. Miles is recognisable but not authoritative enough, and I guess that's why he's got the nickname Giggles. And he's giggled at some pretty inappropriate stuff already, which I'm not going to go into now. But Crisafulli gets slammed for his policies lacking depth and being more of a headline-grabbing exercise. So let's just duck across. First of all, go to Labor's site. If you want to read their policy platform, you've got to download it. I've opened it in another tab here. And in fact, it's 143 pages, and it's quite wordy. It's very much in the too long didn't read category. I did read some of it a couple of months ago, and it can pretty much be made to say whatever you want it to say, and it covers a wide range of sins in government, and then they can point to that and say, hey, we told you so. But if we go across to the LNP site, we don't have much. Sorry about the small font here, but that's just the way it presents on the screen. If we're going to get it, so we've got, say, youth crime. He's got a youth crime problem here. There's not much to it. So one side's got too much detail that can be twisted to mean anything, and the other one's got motherhood statements. But the people that were being interviewed by the Courier Mail, the Sunday Mail, they're worried about the cost of living, of course, which is an artefact of both state and federal governments. Youth crime, which is very much a state government issue. Housing and access to regional health care, state and federal again. And the vast majority of participants said they don't believe the promises would be fulfilled by either party, saying they had distrust from past elections when there were empty pledges. And the reason there's so many empty pledges is because the Labor Liberal Uni Party isn't representing our will, it's representing the will of unelected foreigners at the United Nations and World Economic Forum. If they told us that they were going to be implementing the UN's Agenda 2030 and the UN's 30 by 30 plan, then we wouldn't vote for them, would we? So that's what they do. They don't tell us. Now, what's particularly interesting in this article, I'm just going to zoom up on it here. It's going to be a bit dislocating to watch on your screen. We have here the quiet part stated out loud. These are Queenslanders' uncensored opinions on the policies and promises. Uncensored is the key word. Is that worth saying? I mean, shouldn't we take that for granted, that the opinions on the policies and promises in an election campaign are going to be uncensored? Who's censoring them? Who decides what's okay to say and what's not okay to say? If there's the suggestion that these opinions are uncensored, it means the default is that they are censored. And I can attest to that. There was a period there during my letters to the editor time, 48 years in fact, where I was being published on 14 platforms simultaneously. But then I started talking about some flaws in the medical industry in 2020, some issues that affected everybody that we weren't being told about. And I was censored. What a surprise. Yeah, mate, the left-wing legacy corporate media isn't going to tell you the truth. The Labor and Liberal Uni Party aren't going to tell you the truth. We're living in a house of lies. The only way to correct this is to not vote for the Labor Liberal Party for a start.